Hello there, I am Dr. Bree, and today we're going to do a quick core workout that's an awesome morning primer to do in the morning, but you can do it any time of day. And this is to prevent accidental leakage, bladder leakage. So any gender can do this workout. Anybody can actually have bladder leakage. Bladder leakage is surprisingly common, especially among women, but men can have leakage too. And it can happen at any age. Even younger people can have bladder leakage. So let's get right to it. You might be surprised with the first exercise, which is actually about relaxing the pelvic floor. Oftentimes we think of bladder leakage as that your pelvic floor muscles are weak and that they need to tighten up. But oftentimes our muscles are actually so tight that they're weak. They're so tight that they're not working well. So the first thing we want to do is actually release the muscles so that they'll work better. So I'm going to do this today by way of puppy pose, which is the first exercise we're going to do. So for puppy pose, you can play with your knees being closer together or a little bit wider apart. It just depends on what you like. The key is here that you want your hips to be over your knees. And you want to relax in this position so that you feel like your sitting bones, your butt bones, are really spreading apart. They're not squeezing together, they're actually blossoming apart, okay? In this position, you can rest with your head on the ground, or maybe you can have your head on a pillow or a yoga block. Or you can be up on your elbows, whatever you like, but I want you to just breathe deeply into your pelvic floor muscles, feeling like they're relaxing and softening apart. You might notice that I like to rock a little bit. That's just my preference. If you want to be still, that's fine too. Just breathe and feel like your muscles of the pelvic area are just softening. This is not a time to be kegeling or contracting. This is a time to relax and let go. Breathe into your low back, breathe into your low belly, breathe into your ribs, and exhale long and slow. All right. Next, we're going to grab a yoga block or a pillow, and we are going to actually straddle it. So you don't have to straddle it if you especially are a person with anterior or posterior wall prolapse, then you might actually prefer to do this exercise lying down or with your hips up on a pillow or a yoga block. You can, though, straddle a pillow or a meditation cushion for a little extra feedback. So it's like you're sitting on it and you can really feel what's happening. And what I want to do is to really help prevent accidental leakage. We want to do some kegel exercises, but do them really intentionally. So with a kegel exercise, you want to feel as if your pelvic floor muscles are lifting up toward your head and then relaxing back down. Picture that this is your pelvic floor. It's like we're squeezing and lifting those pelvic floor muscles up toward your head and then releasing back down. Now, the nice thing about this feedback of the pillow is we can really feel when our muscles are lifting up and away from the pillow and then coming back down. I hope you're practicing with that right now. I want to share one more thing as you keep practicing. This shows the pelvic floor muscles themselves. So whether you are male or female, you have tiny little outer muscles around the sphincter of the anus and the pelvic floor superficial muscles here that surround your genitals and urethra. Okay, so these little outer muscles looks a little different if you are a male, but there's still little tiny outer pelvic floor muscles and a deeper layer of pelvic floor muscles inside of that. Outer pelvic floor muscles and deeper inner pelvic floor muscles. The outside muscles are more of the squeeze muscles. The inner muscles are more of the lift muscles. So we want to squeeze and lift to get all of the layers of pelvic floor muscles. Squeeze and lift, okay? Let's go ahead and do 2 more quick ones. So all together, we're squeezing and lifting and then relaxing our pelvic floor muscles back down toward the pillow. Again, squeezing and lifting and relaxing the pelvic floor muscles back down toward the pillow. Now, when you're doing that, I don't want you to be lifting all the way up so that you're actually coming off the pillow. You shouldn't really see anything happening in your glutes or your thighs. It's all your inside pelvic floor muscles. So this time we're gonna hold it for 5 counts. So squeeze and lift those pelvic floor muscles like you're lifting them toward your head. Squeeze and lift and hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. We want that endurance to slowly increase with our pelvic floor. We need the quick activation, but we also need the endurance to prevent accidental leakage. One more of those. Make sure you're totally relaxed. And then we're gonna, again, 5-second hold. Squeeze and lift the pelvic floor muscles away from the pillow up toward your head. Try not to let your glutes be the main movers here. It's your pelvic floor inside. Hold it and totally relax and let go. Now, you might feel your glutes turn on a teeny bit or your abs turn on a teeny bit, but the main mover we want for this is our pelvic floor. For this last one, I want you to squeeze and lift and hold while you cough. So here we go. Squeeze and lift the pelvic floor muscles, lift them up and away from the pillow, hold it, cough. And now release the pelvic floor muscles back down toward the pillow. Try that one more time on your own. So go on your own. You're squeezing and lifting the pelvic floor, holding the muscles in that little kegel hold, and you're coughing, and then you're releasing and letting it go. Okay, that's all for isolated Kegel exercises. I am not a proponent of doing Kegels all day long. I think they can make things too tight down there, and sometimes people aren't even doing them right. So if you have any questions about whether or not you're doing your Kegels correctly, see a physical therapist in your area, okay, for an exam. So the next thing we're gonna do is use the pelvic floor with the rest of our core on the hands and knees. So in this hands and knees position, I want you to do a gentle Kegel, like we just did, a gentle squeeze and lift of the pelvic floor. Now our head is here, so your pelvic floor muscles are squeezing and lifting toward your head this way. Kind of weird, huh? So squeeze and lift that pelvic floor gently toward your head, just a little half contraction, nothing too much, nothing too strong. Hold it, and also your low abs are hugging in and up toward your spine. So you're strong, you're lifted through the pelvic floor and the low abs. Zipped up is what I call this, nice and engaged. Check to make sure that your back is flat like a tabletop and that you're not like this, okay? So back is flat like a tabletop and you are zipped up through your core. Try releasing and then zip up again. Pelvic floor, low abs, you are strong. Now hold that and we're gonna straighten one leg behind you. Lift and lower that leg. Lift and lower. Let's do 8 total. So we have 6 more. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. Now we're going to bring the knee bent and we lift to the side and down. Keep that core strong. And 6 more. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Totally relax your pelvic floor and your abdominals. Let them go, shake it out, and then come straight into the other side. So released and relaxed. Now lift the pelvic floor, lift the low belly nice and strong. Other leg goes back behind you and lift and lower 8 times. So we have 6 more. 5. You're using your core along with the rest, or your pelvic floor along with the rest of the core muscles to keep stability and control. And I think that's close enough. We'll call that done. And now bend the leg and lift it out to the side. Lift and lower. So feeling this in a different area of your hips, getting mobility of your hips and stability of your core because you're so active, using your pelvic floor in an integrated way. Keep breathing. And let's say one more. I'm not very good at counting. All right, let it go. Release, release, release. And sit back on your heels, roll out your wrists. Now, we're gonna do a quick little deer pose stretch with some hip activation. So the front leg goes toward me, the back shin goes toward the side, okay? So you're set up like this. Now, what I want you to do is simply stretch. This stretch stretches you in hip external rotation and internal rotation. Really important for the pelvic floor because these hip rotators hook right into the pelvic floor muscles. We want everything in the area to be balanced. So just take a deep breath. The hip rotators really feed into the pelvic floor, so when they're extra tight, the pelvic floor can be extra tight as well. Now I'm going to challenge you. This might be enough to simply try to keep your sitting bones and your hips down on the floor while you are in this stretch. And in fact, if you need a pad or something under your knee because you just can't get down, that's okay. Meet yourself wherever you are. But if you're able to get your legs down and keep your pelvis basically square in this position, then challenge yourself with 3 lifts of your knee. Keep your foot down, knee lifts. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. This is working those hip rotators. Now just the foot lifts. Knee stays down. Strong through the core, lift through the pelvic floor, and 3, 2, this is so hard, 1. Oh my gosh. Tap those muscles. If you want to really turn them on and wake them up, tap them. Tap them, tap them. They're awake. They should be awake now. And again, strong, healthy pelvic floor muscles require strong, healthy hip rotators too. So we're gonna simply switch sides. Carefully, carefully, windshield wiper out your legs, and we're switching to the other side. So now my other leg is bent toward the front. So we're just doing the other side. So find that nice tall position. Use a pad under your knees if you need to. If you simply are working on the stretch, that's fine. Just working on the stretch is plenty of work. But if you feel pretty good about this stretch and you want a little bit more, then we are going to lift and lower 3 times. 1, 2, just the knee, 3, and down. Oh my gosh. Now just the foot lifts and lowers 3 times. I need to usually turn toward the front bent leg and lift up my core so that I can really raise and lower that back foot. So slowly lift and lower just the back foot. And yes, you may notice that this is now a voiceover because the audio on my microphone officially went out. So we roll with things around here. Keep following along with me as we finish up with this windshield wiper stretch and a couple more really important moves before this workout is over. So just rock and roll, rotating the hips side to side. And now we move on into our next stretch, which is a frog pose. So this is the position for the full expression of the pose. 90-degree angle at the ankles and the knees. Your knees are apart and your feet are flexed at the ankles. This is a very deep, deep stretch and opener for the inner thighs, the pelvic floor, the whole groin area is really going to feel this. So I have an option coming up that you can use if this is too much. But first, let me show you what this stretch looks like from the front, from another angle. So again, the ankles and the knees are at 90 degrees approximately, and you are in this frog-like position. Now, if that is too much, then you can do a half frog, which is lying on your belly and just one leg is up so that your hip and knee are bent at a 90-degree angle. So just draw the one knee up and the other leg is straight back behind you. If you choose, you can stay right here in this half frog position, or you can go back and try that full frog stretch. But no matter what you're doing, please take this moment to just breathe into your pelvic floor area. Breathe into your hips. Breathe and relax and totally let go. So if you were doing the half frog stretch on your belly, then switch legs. So one leg is bent, the other leg is straight back behind you, or maybe you're doing the full expression of the frog pose. Either way, breathe deeply, relax into the pelvic floor, the hips, and the core. Totally release and let go. Feel your pelvic floor muscles softening. Feel your hip muscles relaxing and releasing. And go ahead and prepare to come out of the pose. So whether you were in the full frog stretch or the half frog stretch, come back onto your knees. And we're gonna end with a very brief child's pose. So sit back on your heels, inhale, exhale all your air out, and then fold forward into a child's pose. Your knees can be slightly apart or they can be together. Just choose whatever feels best on your back. Relax and release into child's pose, totally letting go. And then when you're ready, inhale, walk yourself back up to a seated position. And I want to thank you for bearing with me through the audio issues of this workout. I sure hope you enjoyed the exercises as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. This is an awesome workout to do regularly to help prevent accidental bladder leakage. We strengthened and released the muscles of the pelvic floor as well as the surrounding muscles. We activated and released the hip rotators as well as all of the muscles of the core so you could learn how to work the muscles together and use them effectively and efficiently to help prevent bladder leaks and to keep your pelvic floor healthy and strong. If you enjoyed this, please check the video notes for resources and links for more ways we can work together. And until next time, eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter.